Okay, we are now live. Just double checking this microphone's actually working this time. Last time I did the whole show using nothing but the microphone. This very expensive laptop, so I'm surprised it was so terrible. Now, guys, I'm sorry about that. I have this up and running. Everything should be loud and clear. I bought a new webcam, which should make everything else a lot clearer as well. It should be HD quality. So this show should be a good one. I had a few technical difficulties trying to start this one. The original live feed wouldn't load. It said I don't have authority to start this live show. So I just literally started a brand new one right now and named it the same thing. And it seems to be working, so cheers to that. Right, well, no one's joined this yet. We have 2 viewers right now, which is great. Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm sorry about that. I had a few technical difficulties, but we're on now. I remember I said I'd start each one with a little riff or some little piece of music, so hopefully this microphone should pick this up. There we go. Something to get us into the zone before we begin today's session. Talk to you guys about demons and their tactics. Bit of a bizarre subject if you're new to conspiracy, but this is actually pretty basic stuff we're going to go over today. Something for the subscribers. I'm going to play an opening lecture by Derek Prince, who was a great brother in the Lord, who sadly isn't with us anymore. He lived to a great old age, and he taught a lot of people over his years about deliverance from demons and the tactics of demons. And I think his works are something we should definitely have a look at ourselves if we're in this game of conspiracy. So I had to restart the laptop, so I've saved the link somewhere set up for us. Also, for those who are listening now live, I would like some people to come on later and have a talk with me about any experiences that anyone may have had with the demons themselves. So if you want to do that, let me know in the chat section, which I'll be bringing up to see soon. Like I said, I'm starting from scratch here, so I'll get this link. Yeah, so I'm going to show you a lecture. It's only 15 minutes long, and I compiled a few extra videos we should definitely have a look at, which show people who may be using demons to their own advantage. Powers, you could say. So that should be interesting too. So if I just pop this link in here. Excellent. And I'll start a screen share now. Screen share. Sorry for the echo that might appear. Here we go. And hopefully you guys can see this. It's irrelevant either way. It's the sound we want. And I'm going to turn the volume up on here. I'll put this full screen in a second. Recording from the microphone, so I'm sorry if the sound isn't perfect, but it's a studio quality mic, so it shouldn't be too bad. I'm just moving it a bit closer to the speakers now. And yeah, we'll listen to this, guys. I'll show you a few examples of modern demonic possession and the powers it can give. And then I'll go through a few talking topics and maybe share from my own experiences. And then we're going to try and open up the lines for anyone else who wants to share their experiences. So here we go.
My description of demons is persons without bodies. Important to realize you're dealing with a person. In the early years of my ministry, I suffered from intense depression that would come over me like a dark cloud and shut me in, keep me from communicating, And I struggled with it. I did everything. I prayed, I fasted, I reckoned myself dead, I knew the scriptures. And the more I prayed and fasted, the worse it got. And one day I was reading Isaiah chapter 61. And it said, in place of the spirit of heaviness, the garment of praise. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, that's your problem. A spirit of heaviness, of depression. And when I knew that I was dealing with a person and not myself, you see, I've been blaming myself for all of this. When I discovered it was another person, I was 80% of the way to victory. And actually, I understood by revelation that it was a familiar spirit that follows a family up. And I realized the same spirit had affected my father for many years. So all I needed was one other scripture. Joel 2:32. It shall come to pass that whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. I called on the name of Jesus and I was delivered. This thing, it was like a heavenly vacuum cleaner came down over my shoulders and just sucked this thing out. And I had struggled with it for years until I recognized it was not myself. It was seeking to afflict me. And I want you to understand, when you once realize you're dealing with a person who is not yourself, you're about 80% of the way. Now, as I understand it, and let me say, I've been dealing with demons for more than 30 years. I first got involved in 1963. Some people said, well, Brother Prince will soon give it up. He'll change his doctrine. At the age of 80, I haven't given it up, and I haven't changed my doctrine. And I'll tell you one reason, it's scriptural, and number two, it works. I want to offer you 3 objectives that demons have: to torment and torture. They are the torturers. Number 2, to keep you from knowing Christ as Savior. And number 3, if you come to know Christ as Savior, then to keep you from serving him effectively. Now we have to distinguish between 2 things, what's called the flesh and demons or evil spirits. The flesh is the old carnal nature that every one of us had inherited from Adam. All of us are descendants from Adam. And Adam did not beget any children until he was a rebel. Adam has the nature of a rebel in him. That's the old man. Now, the other thing that we deal with is evil spirits. To know what you're dealing with, because the remedies are completely different. See, I was dealing with a spirit of heaviness, and I was trying to deal with it as if it did with the flesh. I was trying to crucify it, because that's the remedy for the flesh. But you can't crucify a demon, nor can you cast out the flesh. You have to know what you're dealing with. A man came to me once and he said, Brother Prince, I want you to cast this demon out of me. I said, what's your problem? And he began to tell me his difficulty in relating to his wife. I said, I don't think I can cast that out. It's not a demon, it's your fleshly nature. You have to crucify it. To know, am I dealing with my flesh or am I dealing with a demon? And I will give you a little list of characteristic activities of demons. Number 1, they entice. A little person here above the age of 6 who has not at some time been enticed to do evil. Very often it comes in words. When you see that nice gold pencil there, pick it up. Nobody will know. If you dropped your pencil, they would do it to you. Anything that comes to you in words comes from a person. So you know that enticement comes from a person, a demon. Number 2, they harass, or I think we'd say in English, harass. I'm bilingual and I have to remember which language I'm speaking. Anyhow, harass or harass, that's what they do. I have this little example in my mind. It's just not directly based on any single experience. There's this businessman. He's had a terrible day in the office. Everything went wrong. The air conditioning failed. And his letters right. And then he got in the car to go home, and he got in a jam in the motorway, and he spent an hour sitting in his car opening all the fumes. And finally, when he gets home, supper ready, and the children are running around screaming. And at that moment, as they say in America, he blows his stack. He loses control. He begins to shout and scream. And that demon of anger that has been following him around all day slips in. And after that, he's a slightly different person. From after that, at times, something comes over him and he wounds the people he loves most, his wife and children. And his wife looks at him from time to time and sees something in his eyes she never saw before. And then he's repentant and penitent, and he says, I'm sorry, I don't know what made me do it. Well, we do know what made him do it. It was the demon of anger, see? It had harassed him or harassed him, and in the moment of weakness, slipped in. Then demons torment. They are the tormentors. They torment spiritually. With the suggestion, God doesn't love you, you're not really saved. That's a common form of torment. They torment emotionally with fear. They torment physically with all sorts of horrible things like arthritis and so on. They are the tormentors. And Jesus said, listen, if you don't forgive your fellow believer, deliver you to the tormentors. Who are they? The demons. A lot of Christians are in the hands of demons because they've refused to forgive some other person. Then demons compel. They make us do things we don't really want to do. That some of the things they compel you to do are really comical. I had a letter after a deliverance service from a woman aged 25, and she said, for the first week in my life that I can remember, I haven't been biting my nails. What made her bite her nails? A demon. Can you believe that? I know it's true. And then demons enslave. They make you slaves. You see, people can sin and stop sinning if they decide. For instance, a man may get drunk and then decide, I won't get drunk, and he doesn't drink anymore. He's sinned, but he's not enslaved. But an alcoholic can't stop drinking. He is enslaved. Now, if you put compel and enslave together, you get the word addiction. And in my personal opinion, almost every addiction of any kind is demonic. And there are a lot of respectable addictions. Some very unrespectable, some respectable. Addicted. You have a problem. And your problem, I think, in 90% of the cases, is a demon. Demons defile. They make us feel dirty and unclean. They project evil, impure images and thoughts and words into our minds. And I've talked with people at various times who said, closest to the Lord, when I really want to worship him, these horrible things come into my mind. And I said, you can be sure it's a demon. Anything that wants to keep you from worshiping God is a demon. Then demons deceive. They are behind all forms of religious deception. Paul said in 1 Timothy chapter 4, in the last times, some will depart from the faith, that's Christians, deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. And believe me, my dear brothers and sisters, there are a lot of different deceiving spirits with doctrines that are demonic, and they're very near to all of us. Finally, demons make people weak or sick or tired or kill them. I dealt with a woman once. This is a remarkable situation. 72 different demons came out of her. She was a respectable woman. She was a registered nurse. She was charismatic, Pentecostal, but she had 72 demons. I didn't count them, but there was a woman making a little note of the names. And in the middle of this, it lasted 5 hours. She said, oh, I'm so tired. I can't go on. I can't take any more. And I thought, well, poor woman, she really is tired. And then the Lord said to me, that's not the woman, that's the demon. I said, you spirit of tiredness, come out of this woman. And it said, not the woman, it said, that's right, she's always tired. She's tired when she gets up, she's tired when she's going to bed. She's too tired to read the Bible, too tired to pray. When that spirit of tiredness came out of her, she was no longer tired. We finished the deliverance. Demons make you go to sleep. There's a spirit of slumber. It's referred to both in the Old and the New Testament. Have you ever considered that you can sit up till 2 a.m. watching something that you probably shouldn't be watching on the television? But if you decide to read your Bible, you go to sleep in 10 minutes. Is that right? That's not natural. There's something there that doesn't mind your watching television. In fact, probably wants you to watch it. But does mind your reading the Bible or praying. All right, those are some activities of demons. Now, the main areas in which they operate. I have to give this in a very condensed form, you understand? I'm writing a book about it. Please pray for me. Book to write. I discovered about 10 different kinds of spirits or demons mentioned in the Old Testament and about 20 in the New. That's 30. But that's just a little sampling. There are hundreds of different kinds of demons. The main area that they affect, I believe, is emotions and attitudes. And behind every negative emotion and attitude, there is a corresponding demon. That doesn't mean you've got the demon, but that means that the demon's there trying to get you. For instance, you can get angry, and it's not a demon. It's just you. It's your flesh. But if you get angry and can't control yourself, and get angry when you don't want to get angry, that's a demon. Let me give you a list of some of the commonest names that I've dealt with. Demons is they operate in gangs. When one gets in, it opens the door for the next. And if you find certain demons, you can always look for their friends. Let's take one. Pride, rebellion. Rebellion almost always follows pride. And then witchcraft or the occult. Because 1 Samuel 15 verse 23 says, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Wherever you find rebellion, look for witchcraft. The great historical example of this is the young people of the United States in the 1960s. Almost a whole generation went into rebellion. And almost every one of them ended in the occult. Because rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. And I thank God I saw scores of them gloriously saved and delivered. But I learned the lesson. Then one of the commonest spirits is the spirit of fear. Paul says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, so it doesn't come from God. But fear is something that we easily, all of us, give way to. And it's followed by other things like rejection. One of the commonest emotional problems in the church and in the world today is rejection. It's a sense of feeling unworthy, unwanted. Nobody really loves me. I'm on the outside looking in. And I would say, in my observation, at least 20% of professing Christians today that I've met with need deliverance from rejection. It's really due to the breakup of the family. Because the thing that gives a child the sense of security is the love and the care of a father. And where that is missing, there's something that cries out, I don't know who I am. I don't feel secure. I don't know that people really love me. I think Jesus really loves you. But the devil will do his best to convince you it's true of everybody else but not you.
Okay then, so that's... Make sure this doesn't play. There we go. Sorry about this, guys. There we go, we're back. Just let me grab the microphone and bring it back around here quickly. And there we go. Well, that was Derek Prince, or at least a brief excerpt from hours upon hours upon hours of lectures he's done. You can go listen to online. He was big in his day, very, very well respected, has a fantastic testimony, a very wise man and thoroughly seasoned and experienced in dealing with the demonic. I was taking notes throughout the whole thing. I'm not sure if anyone else was. Just to recap there, what we learned there, basically. And I've got the chat up on my phone here. If you guys want to keep talking, I'll be looking on here. Romans 2:12. God bless you guys. These Derek Prince sermons are brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, they are fantastic. I might try and do one every show at this rate because his knowledge is priceless. It's a wealth, it's a treasure trove of knowledge, so it can't go unforgotten. And we can thank the Lord for the internet and bringing his works to us. I mean, no one would have heard any of this or seen any of this if it wasn't for the internet. So we have that to be thankful for, I guess, as far as it can go with everything else the internet brings with us. But yeah, the number one lesson really, I think Derek Prince was trying to get across is, demons are persons without bodies. That's a fundamental basic you have to kind of grasp when you want to talk about a demon. It's a personality. It has character. It has an identity. It has words, feelings, everything a character or personality can envelop, but it's not within a body, so it can express. So it can come across kind of trippy when we consider, that what consciousness is exactly. And it opens up a whole can of worms, of course, I understand, which can be quite confusing. But that's something we have to understand. We're dealing with persons without bodies. And he was saying that it can be cast out with the name and power and authority in Jesus Christ. So that's our weapon against them. We have to know that. I know you might be new to this channel, or maybe you just found this video and you're thinking this is crazy. I don't care if you think it's crazy. When the demons do come and attack you at some point in your life, and they will, if they aren't already, remember that you can get rid of them. You can take control, power over them, and cast them out in the name of Jesus Christ. Just take that advice, seep it in there, let it sit there at the back of your mind if you still don't think that's true or not. It might save your life one day. Just remember that. And Derek Prince was speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience too. This is something, knowledge alone won't save you on this one. You will never truly understand just from studying demons until you really have that visceral experience with these entities. And I don't wish that upon anybody. Trust me. Trust me. The demons have three objectives. It's to torment and torture, keep an unbeliever away from knowing the truth in God and Jesus. And if you already know God and Jesus, to make sure you don't serve them effectively. That's all demons aim to really ever do. And this, as I'm going to go into soon, goes down a massive rabbit hole of just how they can keep you away from knowing Christ. The subtle ways, the ways you wouldn't even think was a way. They do these things to you. They push you to your limits in order to make you snap so they can get a doorway into you. Yeah, take that for what it is. Demons enslave, entice, harass, compel, deceive more than anything, torment, defile, and make people weak, sick, tired, or die. Now, this is serious stuff. This is a real spiritual battle. This is real warfare. People die and are murdered by demons on a daily basis. And this isn't something most Christians really talk about or think about in most modern churches. This reigniting passion for this topic, I think, is really a very new thing in younger generations who perhaps don't feel like the churches are really saying the right things or pushing the hard truths like the existence of demons. So most people are defenseless against them. And I think knowing what we know in the conspiracy world, most conspiracy theorist truthers who are find a more fascination in demonology because we understand this is our true enemy. This is what the conspiracy is really all about. This is what we're trying to fight. And we need to know what weapons are effective. Now, he said, there are hundreds of different kinds of demons. And obviously, we know he didn't know himself when saying these things, I don't think. Though he did mention in one lecture he understood them to be the offspring of fallen angels mating with humans. But he didn't go further into that, or I don't think he ever dwelt on it himself during his life on Earth with us here. But he understood that there are hundreds of different kinds of demons, different types, being the genetically engineered hybrid chimera offspring of fallen angels or godlike beings mating with humans. My series, I express how they look like clowns, although that's a very basic way of looking at it. Basically, they were very colourful, wacky-looking, bizarre features, mainly with red hair and white skin or platinum hair or multicoloured hair, very rainbow-like in nature. I'm sure there were many different types of demonic entities or Nephilim that were on the earth during the times of Noah. So expect these things to come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and because they are personalities, they have a personality, different tastes and desires and lusts that you should differentiate. So these things come in gangs. That's another thing he tries to make very clear. When you find one demon, guarantee the whole gang is there as well. So he says, when someone has pride, for example, within them, the strong, disgusting pride that just makes you go, "Whoa, got to stay away from that guy." It often comes with rebellion. It's not alone, and rebellion comes hand in hand with witchcraft. And with witchcraft and rebellion and this idea that's based and rooted in fear, and these are all spiritual personalities that can oppress a human. Now, I'm not sure if he made it clear in that lecture, but he has made it clear in other ones that nowhere in the Bible does it strictly ever say in the Greek that a human being can be possessed by a demon. You can be heavily oppressed by a demon, but a demon can never claim ownership over a human body. It could say it's mine, but he doesn't truly own that. Jesus paid a price for you in blood. He owns you. You're his property, essentially, if you want to put it in that terminology. And he can free you from the enslavement of demons. Now, there's many modern ways, demons can attack people today, in this day and age. Obviously, it's not what it was in the times of Noah during the flood and all these type of things. We have things like technology to deal with now, a growing population, and knowledge going to and fro, rapid communications. Things are a lot different for us today than they ever have been. And that means the devices of the devil and his demons are more advanced too. And I've listed here in my little notebook many ways I've found through my own research into conspiracy just how demons have started to attack people. And I'll go through them one by one and just have a bit of a talk on them. I'm going to be checking the chat in between to answer any questions while we're doing that. And we're going to do that for about half an hour. And then on the hour mark, I'm going to try and open the lines up for anyone who wants to come on, share your ideas about whatever you've been thinking about, anything you just have to get off your chest, something that's just been driving you insane or making you scared or whatever it is. Come on, have a chat, and we'll air it out and we'll have a back and forth about it. So I'm just checking the group chat here. Getting loads of messages through. Rudolph Kane says cell phones can read thoughts. Yeah, that would not surprise me. I haven't heard anything specific about that myself, but if you want to share a link, feel free. Sounds interesting. Eric Green asks, could there also be different types of demons? The more powerful ones may still be locked up. Well, there are some demons that are locked up, actually, yeah. Well, not demons necessarily, but fallen angels. The original fallen angels that mated with human beings and started all this were bound in chains, I believe, until the last day in the final judgment. So there are powerful entities still who were directly punished for this, but they weren't the only ones, and there may have been a second incursion. And yeah, it wasn't good news for them anyway. I'm sure those angels are not in a very good position at all, unredeemable in that respect. But we're going back to the chat here. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying this out. It's a new way of doing it. Something about Stonehenge. Okay, so everyone's talking amongst themselves within the chat, which is cool. So I'm going to go through this list. Now, there are many ways demons can be experienced by people today. So I have this list here, and number one is sleep paralysis. This is a common thing. Even I have family members who have had this experience. I'm sure many of you listening to this probably have had the exact same thing, or heard or know somebody who has gone through the same process, which is always terrifying. When one would wake up in the middle of the night but not be able to move their body, just their eyes. And that's a scary, traumatic experience anyway. You know, it's not would never be a pleasant experience to happen. But a lot of people communicate that this is where shadow entities start to appear. Weird figures just stood in the corner of the room watching them while they can't move. A famous case is the old hag. Now, the old hag is an old lady who would sit on the chest of the person who can't move and strangle them while they're in this sleep paralysis mode. And it can be explained away by psychiatry, I suppose. You know, people are just hallucinating and seeing things that half a dream, half awake. But you talk to somebody who's had this experience, and they are adamant, no, a literal human person or something heavy was sat on my chest, literally strangling me. I don't know, why would I imagine something like that? And now you could say it was imagination, but the occurrence is consistent for every experience. It's always the same thing, and it always describes the same entity that does it, this old woman. So demonic attack, I would probably think so, because shadow people are the same kind of kin as the Hat Man entity, which is another entity, one of many types of demons, but this one seems to be some kind of head demon. Think of it in military terms, it's probably the general of its little platoon of shadow entities. But the Hat Man is a terrifying entity that I made a video about called The Hat Man, a demonic encounter, where I described my own personal encounter with this terrifying thing, but it was in a dream for me. A lot of people talk about it in sleep paralysis as well. Now, dreams is the next one on my list. A lot of people encounter lots of psychedelic things while dreaming and encounter all sorts of entities, people, humans. And there's no real evidence I can say that demons, all the entities you find in a dream world are demonic. Many of them could just be projections from your own mind. It can't be left out that demons could easily enter into that realm and be one of the characters. I guess it all depends on where you are with God in that respect. The dream world, I mean, I once had a vision which was dreamlike while I was daydreaming of a jester entity, which was incredible to look at. I mean, as an artist, it's like, I wish I could have taken a picture of that, or I wish I could draw what I saw, but I just can't because it was that epic. But I certainly didn't feel like I came up with that myself. Like that's something I imagined. That's my work, and I should take credit for what I saw. Seems like I was looking directly at something outside of me, and it was a jester, which got me onto looking deeper into the connection of entities, spirits, and jesters, which got me onto realizing the Nephilim spirits look like jesters now. That's my theory. I think I made a solid enough case for that so far. Psychedelic drugs is number 3 on this list. Now, this is something a lot of people in the psychedelic community, if you're not privy to it, there's many online forums and chats. Blue Lights is a good example, where people talk about their psychedelic experiences, write trip reports where they're kind of telling other people what to expect for first timers and things like this. They have their own language and codes to get away with talking about it as well. But psychedelic experiences often come with entities visiting them. It's not dissimilar from people believing that their spirit guides have come to them when they meditate, let's say, and activate the third eye. It's this idea that something comes to them and teaches them some kind of profound wisdom that blows their mind, and sends them to the next level of consciousness or something. But naturally, from my own experience with psychedelics, you always come back and forget everything that was taught to you, and you can't. It's like sand going through your fingertips. I think Joe Rogan described it like that, and he's not wrong in that respect. Though I disagree with his interpretation of the entities he saw, because jester entities are a really common occurrence for people who take psychedelic drugs. And most people interpret them as the elf machines, like Terence McKenna referred to them as, these advanced beings or ancestor spirits or spirit guides or archetypical symbols for not taking life so seriously, let's say. These entities are here to try and teach mankind as much as they can to bring them to the level where they are, which is kind of portrayed by the demons on the other side as a higher dimension. Now, when you understand that the demons are Nephilim, which were disembodied, and demons are personalities without bodies, they have to be somewhere. And when you take psychedelic drugs, you're still physically here, your vision just kind of expands. So it's kind of like you're seeing another side to this world. And knowing that the Nephilim never left this world, I think it's safe to assume, call me crazy, you're probably going to the realm where the Nephilim disembodied spirits dwell. Now, can you imagine these ancient, super intelligent beings who have a massive disdain for mankind and God for what he's done to them, putting them behind in this fractal prison. And he sees one of God's creation, one of God's children, who's completely clueless, just appear, or suddenly look at him, look at the demon. The demon realizes, oh, he can see me. And he knows nothing at all about demons. And he doesn't even know Christ. This kid doesn't even know anything about Jesus and the power in the name of Jesus or God. He's just a new age, psychedelic, free-loving, naive little child who stumbled into my domain. I can do whatever I want to this person. I can tell him anything at all. And because of who I am and how out there this is to him, he'll think I'm an authority figure and he'll believe anything I say. And that's what happens. That's what happens. And these people who listen to these entities and come back trying to tell people about what they were taught, it's always the same, we're all God, man. Everything's connected. I'm God. You're God. We just need to forget about the material world and meditate, man, and everything will be okay. We need to focus on positivity and drop all the fear, and that's fair enough. But the world is not all sunshine and lollipops, and that attitude will not get you very far if you do not know that you have an enemy out there who wants to steal, kill, and destroy from you, the demons themselves. And the ironic thing is, you try and tell these psychedelic trippers, why don't you talk to these spirit guides about Jesus? And if they ever do, the reaction's never very pleasant from these entities. And that's when they actually show their true colors. So my advice to anybody out there who's still taking psychedelics, if you must do them, I can't tell you to stop, although I'd recommend you do because of this information. if you must do it, ask them some real, genuine questions like, who is Jesus Christ to you? And then read scripture and compare the two ideas. Listen to other people's experiences with these things, and you'll realize they're lying to you. They're just liars through and through. They'll say anything, as Derek Prince made as his third point, to stop you from knowing Jesus. That's all the demons want to do. You know, they want to torment, torture, keep you from Jesus, or stop you from effectively serving Jesus. That's all they can do. They have nothing else to do in the meantime, at least not until they manage to bring them back here through CERN and the T-Wave computer. You know, there's people on this planet working on that planet, I don't know, this Earth, don't want to offend anybody, working on this, you know, trying to get them into our realm. You know, in the meantime, let's not make it too easy for them. Let's not open gateways and doorways to our own temples and vessels so they can come into this realm. You know, the more you let them into you, the worse you will act, because they are, you know, using you, and the worse the world will be. And that's not even dealing with man's own sin without the demons. You know, let's not make it worse for everybody. Let's play it safe on the psychedelic front, basically. Number 4, I have extra sensory perceptions. There may be people out there, let me know if there is, but people who just can see. They always can and always have been able to. I'm not sure how they would interpret what they're looking at. You know, I guess it all depends on their upbringing. But extrasensory perceptions could be another way demons are experienced, and that's something I'd like to know more about myself. Demonic activity is often experienced as well. I've got here through psychopaths and narcissists. You see a lot of people who have really lost their humanity, and you know, you would definitely give them a wide berth if you're walking past them in the streets. You know, you're looking at them, you know, well, keep a distance from that guy, because they're just oozing this negative, hate-filled energy. Then you get these psychopaths who are very subtle and will act like an angel of light, but they'll suck you dry from the inside out and leave you an empty husk of an emotional wreck, you know, and then go on to the next person and do the same thing again. Energy vampires, you could call these people. I believe that's demonically influenced. I think we should pray for psychopaths. So I think even though mankind can be pretty bad, I think that's a next level problem. And Jesus saves, so there's no harm in trying. Number 6. Mediums and spiritualists. This is another way demons can easily get into your life, and you should be very careful with this one. I have personal experience with this myself. Now, mediums often claim, you know, I can talk to your dead relatives. Come to me. I'll be a channel between you on this side, and you know, I'll connect you to your dead father on the other side. Let's say. In my example, that's what my sister actually did. She wanted to go communicate with her father, who had hung himself, sadly, in 2010. But I believe, you know, demons will pretend to be your dead relatives, basically. And all the medium is doing is working with the demons. She made a contract with a demon for power. You know, and I'll pretend it's me who has the power to talk to dead people, as long as you give me the information necessary to make it look like I am talking to this person's dead relative. You know, little does the person who's come to the witch understand that that demon was intimately acquainted with the person's dead relative. They knew them inside and out and could imitate them perfectly, knew all the darkest secrets of this person. That's what demons do. They watch and observe for people's weaknesses, and they've been here for thousands of years. So the Lord would be one demon which this medium can work with, which will be able to convince the clients that they're in touch with their loved ones. But it's a lie, it's a deception. And if you take part in this, rather than going to God to talk to the dead, which is the only true authority that can ever really bring you to the dead, you went to other means, there's consequences. And it's not God punishing you, he warns us. There's consequences for doing these things, and you know, it's your choice at the end of the day. And I believe if you go to a medium, then the demon that is there will then just be attached to you. And whatever they prophesize as well, if you go there for prophecy. So in this case, the medium decided to say to my sister, after after convincing her she was talking to her dead father, oh, I'm being told, have you lost a son? Has a son died? And she's like, no, I've never had a child. And they left it at that. And now, obviously, that was always dwelling in her mind, I imagine, the thought of that. And then my first child's going to die because this witch told me so. Now, curses are very real. And I do believe that curse transferred over into my sister's first child. And he had a brain hemorrhage a month after being born and almost died. Luckily, he's pulled through and we prayed and he's come back. And it's a miracle. They told us he was brain dead, but he's acting pretty well considering, you know. You wouldn't think he was brain dead at all. So be careful with mediums. That's my personal experience. Now, mediums go hand in hand with people like magicians. There's a good example of many magicians who have performed amazing feats, you know, physics denying feats, which have blown people away. So how did you do that? Teleporting objects, let's say, or levitating, or walking on water, or there's all sorts of things. You know, there's a lot of new magicians that have quite questionable acts, and they're on television more often than not. Like Dynamo is the prime example I can think of as well. But there's thousands. But there's David Blaine might be a good example as well. But if you want to get more into that, look for Zendrius's series on demon magicians, because he makes it clear, you know, these magicians make a deal with a demon. And the demon then can manipulate physics for them, so the person can get power and fame and wealth and respect. Obviously, you then become a willing vessel for the demon. And the demon benefits because it gets more and more people into the occult who watch the magician and think it's amazing and want to know how to do it themselves. So it makes more people go out and want to get a demon to work with them, because that's what you always discover. I think Manly P. Hall, who wrote a book called The Secret Teaching of All Ages or something like that, he made it clear, you know, all magic, real magic, is performed with the accompaniment of demons. That's just, we all know this. That's the secret, the big secret. No, a magician never reveals his tricks, never reveals his secrets. Well, that is the secret. I've ruined it for all magicians. That's how they get away with these things. There's nothing fantastic about it, actually. It's quite old. It's an ancient art form. And it's destructive and dangerous, and it's encouraging, or at least with television, they're trying to encourage the whole new generation to get into witchcraft and think it's a cool thing and have power. So stay away from them. Now, on that topic, actually, I have a few videos here, which I think you'll find very interesting, about the power that can be gained by making a deal with the demon. And it's quite an old video, but if you haven't seen it already, now's there's no time like the present, I suppose. But this footage is of a man, I'm not sure where he is, but he's obviously a part of some kind of ancient tribe. And most ancient tribes work with demons, worship demons still. I know that might sound culturally inappropriate, but that's just the way it is. That's what all ancient cultures worship, the Nephilim gods. And there are still many around today that do this. But there's this interesting footage of a man eating glass and eating burning wood and not being affected whatsoever. And I also believe this is due to him making a deal with the demon for power. So I'll quickly screen share here and we'll bring it up. Here we go. And we'll play this. Okay, so he's eating glass here. Look at his eyes. Reptilian in nature. No blood. His gums aren't cut. No lacerations.
Bà lấy xong rồi cùi trên mà lưng hơi trên đó mà ô cô chết từ cô từ cơ trên đó mà xong trên mà môi pin bay đó ấp
Not sure about that crazy picture in the background now. But yeah, you get the gist. That's pretty intense stuff, right? I mean, how is that possible? It's not possible. Let's face it, it's not possible without the help of something supernatural. And this is the secret, guys. These ancient tribes understand it very well. Always have done, you know, and modern Western man, or the occult, has harnessed this knowledge for their own power and gain. And we have magicians, mediums, and spiritists today working with the very entities that can give power like this to you. So, you know, I'd say there are advantages to having demons, you know, helping you, but there aren't really. But they like to give some perks for you allowing them to remain in your vessel, which is strictly supposed to be only for the Holy Spirit and God. But you're letting killers, psychopaths, monsters into you instead. You know, and, you know, a bit of power and fame might be all well and good, but it won't feed the soul. It'll kill you eventually. You know, it'll lead to death. And this goes to the New Age as well. This is number 7 on my list, the New Age. And this comes with a lot of meditation, chakra alignments, opening the third eye, using frequencies and cymatics to try and open the third eye as well. And I'm just not buying it, guys. It sounds like more of this stuff that tribes like this would do, and you're just trying to channel more demons into yourself. And I know that sounds like a basic, but it's not. It's ancient. It's old. It was well understood. It's only today have we, for some reason, forgotten all this knowledge and think it's new. There's nothing new about the New Age. It's contracts with demons. That's it. The Nephilim of the past. You know, they want to live through you in your body because they haven't got a body. If you let them live in you and accept them being there, you know, they might be there and you have no idea, but if you know they are there and you're allowing them to stay there, then the deal is you sin, I get to experience it. This is the demon talking. If you keep sinning and killing people and sacrificing people, I get to be the one doing that as I'm in your body. I get to experience that feeling of killing somebody or having sex or taking drugs because I'm in your body. That's the deal. You do more bad things and sin, I'll give you more power. It's a win-win. You know, I get my pleasure satisfied as a demon. You get power as a human from me. Yeah, it's a deal. It's a contract, and these contracts can only be broken through the name and power of an authority of Jesus Christ. You have to be saved in his name. That's your weapon against this. Things like Ouija boards. These are basically direct phone lines, communication lines to talk to the demons who are on the other side. But it's more than that. You basically, it's you giving them permission to enter into your life. You're opening a door for them as soon as you go to one of these boards. You know, to talk to your dead relatives, it's always something like that, isn't it? That's the selling point. You know, a demon may pretend to be your dead relative and answer questions only they could have known, but that's only to get you to open up yourself and accept them into your life. It's like that old understanding, you know, the vampire, like you have to invite them in, you know, otherwise they can't get to you. And on this, I actually collected another video, which did the rounds a few years ago, which shows Peruvian schoolgirls going completely insane. And it's reported that they were using an Ouija board. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake there. It reported that they were using an Ouija board, and now all of them are foaming at the mouth, having seizures, and are possessed by demons. That's what the locals understand it to be. Many doctors are baffled and don't understand what's going on, and it's been getting worse. It's up to 80 children now. This keeps happening to the entity they summoned never left the school.
Vecinos, algo raro ocurrió en Tarapoto la semana del 29 de abril al 3 de mayo. algo que produce muchas explicaciones, pero las imágenes hablan por sí sin motivo aparente y movilizó a la policía, al serenazgo, a los bomberos. En una semana fueron víctimas de la experiencia más traumática de sus vidas. Hipótesis muchas, pero respuestas aún difíciles de encontrar, porque algo extraño ocurrió en este colegio de Tarapoto. Júzguelo usted misma.
So there you go. I mean, that's disturbing enough. It's almost as though they're on fire or something. Like they're just in complete agony. And that's the price you pay when you mess with these things, you know. Stay away from Ouija boards. That's one thing I'll say. It's getting on to the hour now. I may open up the phone lines very soon for people to come on and talk about whatever they want. I'm just going to quickly try and catch up with the chat here. It looks like people have been saying quite a lot since I've been chatting away. God, it just keeps loading and loading and loading. Yeah, but either way, these this isn't the first time something like this has happened. You know, this is kind of, well, mass possessions. I mean, what you're seeing happening to these young girls is a lot like what a lot of these self-proclaimed exorcists of these mega churches claim to be, where they say, you know, I'm throwing holy fire onto you, holy fire, God's fire, and they start like screaming in pain and writhing around. And this pastor is saying, you know, I've now cleansed you of the demons. It's like, did you really? I do wonder. It's like electricity's going through their body, and it looks just like this, and they're acting exactly the same, except there's no preacher here claiming to be casting demons out. So just keep your eyes open on this one. Obviously, some people bring demons into this world through direct summoning. They know full well what they're doing, and they perform rituals with the pure intent to get in touch with these entities to help them have power. These people, I assume, come in under the psychopathic category. You have to be in a very particular frame of mind to want to go and pursue such things. But this is kind of what we're trying to expose. There are literally people in this world who do such things and know this stuff that as much as we understand and know, you know, what we're taught at school. This is what these people have been taught, and they don't laugh at it. They take it very seriously, and I think we should too. Ritual abuse is another example as well on this satanic idea of how people end up with demons. You know, they were abused as a child, or were even involved in satanic ritual abuse, and the demons follow them throughout their entire life, and these demons pass down to families, down to the next person, unless it's dealt with. Things like addiction. I do believe demons attach themselves to drugs, you know, so when you take the drug, you're actually literally letting a demon directly into your body. But of course, that might not always be the case. But I do remember with salvia, the drug salvia, a lot of people always claim to see a green woman. Lady Salvia, I believe her name is. Let me type it in here. She's a reoccurring entity for people who take. Have you seen Lady Salvia on Psychonaut, one of these psychedelic forums? And people have tried to draw her and paint her all the time, you know. Now, is this not just a Nephilim entity? A personality without a body that may have attached itself to a specific plant, and if you smoke that plant, you've allowed her into your body, and she can then possess people or live and dwell within people. I do wonder. Bizarre looking entity, to say the least. So yeah, demons attach themselves to objects, attach themselves to all sorts of things. If you have anything demonically influenced in your house, like occult books or statues of Shiva or things like this, or even dream catchers, these are occult charged items. You know, these are items which have been spiritually charged with demonic energies. And if you're having problems, maybe consider removing these objects from your immediate surroundings and see if that has an effect on your health or your mental health or your issues. What such a simple fix that could be. If you do have any occult books, I suggest you just burn them. And I don't care how that sounds. Trust me, there's no knowledge in these books which is worth knowing. I've had a few in my time. I've read through them. It's utter nonsense and gibberish most of the time anyway. Complete spurious religions, complete twists and hypocrisy based on the sacred sciences of God. Exceptions from way before the flood, you know, ancient Babylonian school religion stuff. It's gibberish. Just burn it and make sure no children or anyone naive can get deceived by this nonsense again. Things are astral travel. A lot of people, you know, leave their bodies when they sleep and go to these other realms, these other places. Again, just like with psychedelic trippers, what's on the other side now is not something you should be playing with. And I do think our sight has been limited for a good reason, not because God wants to hold us back or keep us from having fun. There's good reasons for these things. Something which I think I'm going to have to share, I know I'm pushing it a bit here on the hour, but I'm going to have to share this with you, is spirit boxes. I had someone comment not so long ago about spirit boxes, saying he wants to start trying it. So I've tried to pull up a video here, an example of people who do these things. And I think I found a good one. This guy seems to, I haven't looked into his work much, but I remember seeing him in the past having quite a bad time, saying maybe I've gone too far, but it looks like he's just gone back into full swing here and committed fully to his spirit box endeavor. And some of the things he's encountering, or sounds like he's encountering, are quite disturbing. If you think it is true, I've heard these things have been going on for a very, very long time. The device does look a little bit cheesy, I'm not going to lie, with the crystals wrapped around the wire. These do have energy properties and can be conductors between realms, I believe. Many precious stones can be used for these reasons. So here we go. Now this guy is fully into this. He believes these entities are good things. And he wants to give the spirits the tools they need to break through.
Who's here with me?
So a very deceived man.
Hello? I hear you. Whoa. This sounds like otherworldly. Who's here with me? Wow. Who's the little girl? Who's the little girl? I know you're there.
Girl is there. Girl is there.
Girl is dead? Hello? There you are. Anything you want to say? No, I thought, okay. I was just testing the sound of this new box. I think it sounds amazing. You guys sound really clear. Direct line mode.
And Easter bringer. And he's just being there.
I am your friend. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Anne here?
I'm on the moon.
You're on the moon.
Yeah, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus Christ. Guys, do not try this at home. They are not your friends. They are not there to help you. Thank you all for your continued support, as without you, push to keep creating these devices. Be careful who you support, guys. Be careful who you encourage. Not all that glitters is gold. You know. So thanks to you all. And he even says at the end here, which I remember, even the haters, which I guess I would come under the category of hater. Others, other Christian truthers out there. But we know the truth. You know, we understand what he's really messing with. I know this person might want something good to be on the other side, but that's just not the case. These things are deceivers. They pretend to be children, loved ones, famous people, angels, aliens. This is something as well which is on my list, and I've seen a lot of people talking about in the chat. I think I saw Self-Contented said she'd confronted this man actually about this, the chat. Good on you. Abnormal truth, lol, the moon. I know, I'm on the moon. You know, but obviously, it's like I was explaining earlier. To the demons, they see this man with his crazy little box and think, what a fool, man. This guy hasn't got a clue what we are. We can send him down all sorts of crazy routes. We can make him believe anything. And if we can make him believe it, and they'll believe the lies too. And demons are deceivers. They come to deceive. But yeah, I have abduction written down here. This is another way people encounter demons. They often feel like they've been abducted by aliens. Very clear. And many truthers have made this very clear. If you're not a truther unless you know this fact, there are no such things as aliens. Surprise, surprise. They are all interdimensional Nephilim spirits, demons, and fallen angels. Just like the Bible told us that all ancient peoples have understood and known, these things have always been here. They are not extraterrestrial. They are very terrestrial. Probably been here, well, not longer than us, but as long as us. You know, they are not aliens. Space is not what we were told. NASA has completely lied to us. I'm not going to debate and argue over the specific shapes and dynamics and how that works. Just know that the official story is a lie, as per usual with everything else. Personally, I think space may be more water than actually empty space. But again, that's a debate for another video and another time. Certainly lied to us about these things. So, you know, aliens cannot exist because of this. I think the Bible has it correct when he tells us there is a firmament to separate the waters of heaven from the waters below. Okay, well, I think I've gone through most of my talking points here. Actually, there's a quick video I should show you guys, just to add it into this compilation. It's definitely worth showing. but it's a man who was this footage must be very old. I'm not sure when it's from, maybe the 40s or something. But he can stick a sword through his body. Yes, it's exactly how I just said it. And I think it's funny that when you listen to this now, understand, you know, that scientists have come up with an explanation, though I believe his story is, I made a deal with an angel who protects me, and he stops the blood from coming out and keeps me safe. And one day, this is how the man died. One day, the angel told him to swallow a needle, a pin, I think it was a nail of some kind or something like that, and he did. And then he died. So it seems like these demons, for a short time, gave him the ability to be invincible, took it away when they saw fit. So, you know, the deal is bittersweet at best. So let's play this here. The scientist's explanation, I think, is really
Here at the
far-fetched.
Burgerspital, a famous sanatorium in Bern in Switzerland.
Eastern mysticism, anything but Christianity, can give you superpowers. A precursor to the transhumanist agenda, you know. And I was just looking through the comments here, and I believe where is she? There you go. Oh, sorry guys, I'm losing it here. Sarah Allen, I'm seeing here you sound a bit confused about the spirit boxes and what voices are coming through. And you're asking, could the voices not be disembodied spirit voices, you know, from people, I assume? You're talking about human beings here. The Bible makes it clear, I think, that when you die, it's like you go into a deep sleep and you cease to exist. You can't be summoned other than by God, I assume. God probably has the power to bring you from the dead for a meeting with a loved one. If you would ask him, maybe he would let that happen. Though, you know, I don't think that's allowed to happen. And everyone sleeps until the final day. And then on that final day, when everything comes to an end, Judgment Day comes, and the dead in Christ rise first and are judged, and then the rest are judged. So that's why we can't talk to our loved ones in the meantime. They're actually just they're asleep. They're not in pain, but they're not happy either. That they cease to feel and think in that sense. It's as though they're in a constant dream. They're asleep, you know, and all are raised in the final day. So that's why these demons will have to pretend. You know, if you think you're talking to a loved one, you're not. It has to be a demon. By that standard, and I agree with it personally. I think that is exactly what's going on there. But on topic, you know, we have this guy being stabbed with a sword, and the scientist's explanation, explaining everything away as they always conveniently like to do. That he's created a perfect channel through all his vital organs through repetitive stabbing, which is healed over to create an exact hole which that one man can perfectly get through every single time without rupturing anything. I'm calling bollocks on that one, guys. I don't know about you, but that's what I think. Right, so like I said, I've talked through all of my talking points. That's as much as I can really bring up myself off the top of my head about demonology. I want to now put a link into the chat box, guys, so you're going to have to bear with me a second while I switch screens here. Sorry for the echo. There we go, I'm back. And keep the comments coming in. I'm going to try and read them. But at the same time here, I'm also going to put... sorry, guys, it's been a while. Just bear with me. All right. Sorry, I've closed the chat channel on this thing. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, fantastic. So yeah, it's up to you guys now to come on and talk about whatever you want. I have about 40 minutes to do this. I am leaving the link in the chat now. So just hop on. I'd appreciate if you would mute your mic. It depends on how many people all come on at once. If it's a few of you, I'll try and get through you one at a time. I'll mute your mic otherwise if you don't. And yeah, if you want to talk about whatever you want, guys, on topic to demons would be nice. But if you have anything else on your mind, that would be great. And we'll have a chat. So there we go, guys. The link's now in the chat box. If you click that, you should be able to join the Google Hangout. That would be fantastic. So I'm just going to carry on talking in the meantime while people try and hop on. And I'm going to go through some of the comments in the meantime, and let's see what people have been saying. Excellent. People are arguing over the gospel. Come on, guys, that's the last thing we need to be doing, arguing over the gospel. I'm not trying to, judge or anything, but that's just something. We shouldn't be arguing with people about that. We should bring it in love, okay? Ah, someone's here. Abnormal Truth. It looks like you've joined us. Okay, can you hear me okay, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear loud and clear. That's cool.
Great.
So what's been on your mind? What have you been thinking about?
I've been thinking a lot about the alien deception, but I think I heard you say that you covered that a few days ago or something, but that's something that's been on my mind because I was totally sold on that for decades, and I know how big the deception is. And if there's anything that I could do just to show one person what's really going on there, I would just feel better. I've been
tell us your testimony. Go for it. Go.
Yeah, I've been when I was 6, I got my first UFO book. So my entire life I've been interested in them. And I'm 42 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been taken, I've seen UFOs. It's just hard to describe how much I've actually researched the whole matter. And I just want to say that during those couple of decades I was looking into this, nothing ever really made sense of the whole phenomena until you put it in a biblical view. And I think that's the most powerful thing I learned, was that once you look through everything with a biblical lens, all of this stuff makes sense. It parallels really closely. But I have to say, and I want your opinion on this, this is something I've thought about a lot, but it's the whole question itself. Are aliens really demons, or demons or aliens? To me, that would depend on if these beings we're dealing with actually come from other planets, or if they actually have a spiritual, if they actually live in the spiritual realms, then they're definitely just demons. And you got to ask yourself, are we living in a place with that much strange things going on? Because I believe in the accounts of demons, and I know there's people out there that have abduction accounts with aliens. And the deception fits, though, doesn't it? Because if evil wanted to, I don't know, it just fits either way. It really does. The aliens or demons, and it depends where you're coming from.
On this, I've been thinking about it a lot myself for years. I used to believe in aliens when I first got into this. I didn't really think about the nature of the shape of the Earth for a long time, so I wouldn't consider it could possibly. I mean, it's that idea, is it? The universe is so huge. How can there possibly not be aliens? That's kind of what you imagine and believe, isn't it? It's kind of ingrained into us, like they have to exist, because it's so vast and so much possibility that it would be foolish to think that we were the only things here. But I do wonder, obviously now that's in my mind put aside. Demons, aliens are demons. They have always been here on Earth. They are pretending to be all sorts of things. Now, this is the problem. They don't always come as aliens to people. Now, abductions are one thing. I believe a lot of humans have abducted other humans and made it look like aliens, put them under influence of drugs to kind of perpetuate that lie. William Cooper talks about this, I think, how, you know, he was a part of the military and he understood that people were faking alien abductions on people. Humans were, to spread the lie that aliens are here doing experiments on people. But they're actually, I think there's that famous case of the cows were found in a field with no skin on their lips, and they had the anus removed and body parts removed from animals, and people said, oh, this is how aliens have come to do experiments on our animals. It's kind of like, well, no, that isn't true, because they are the results. That's where radiation gathers on people, and that's what they removed to test the levels of radiation. It turns they're actually doing radiation experiments on these animals. The military was, and they were just removing flesh samples to do experiments to see how much of the radiation is seeped into these specific areas, like the nostrils, the lips, the eyes, and other holes and orifices. So, you know, it's very human. So a lot of these alien stories of horror stories of abductions, I think, are very human based. I also have reason to believe that there are reptilian-like entities, real fleshly Nephilim, still here on the earth in a physical form. There's stories in the Middle East where an army platoon came across a Nephilim in the desert, which wiped out most of the platoon, but they managed to get it. So I do think there are still physical Nephilim still here who aren't dead and aren't bodiless spirits. But then there are the full abduction kind of scenarios where it's like a spirit guide coming and imparting wisdom to somebody. I think they are real visceral, multidimensional experiences, often triggered through the pineal gland or something like that, or forced astral travel. But usually people that experience stuff like that, I find, are involved in occult things to begin with. It's like they're seeking that kind of thing. They want to be visited by something and usually get what they want. Just be careful what you wish for is kind of the lesson, the moral in that story.
Hey, I gotta say that exact same thing you just said. I'll admit that's what happened to me. And
which bit? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and it was also the people I was hanging out with. Also, they were really into it. Got visited a lot. I don't want to say that I was wishing for it so much, but I did probably bring that upon myself, and I just really came back to the Lord in 2015 in January. But I'll admit, before then, that's why I see this as such a dangerous thing, because I get how, you know, how you were saying, or somebody in chat was saying a while ago, you know, they used to think that, you know, in the future we'd travel through the stars, through science fiction and all of that. It's probably the great deception. I think there are many deceptions, but I think this may be the great deception if they fake an alien invasion coming in, and, you know, blue beam and all that. And I can't help but think that might happen, because if you pay attention to the movies that are coming out, they're really pushing this alien thing now. 10 years ago, you almost couldn't hear anything on the television about it. Yeah, it was in the movies. But I think it looks like they're pushing it in the media now. They've always pushed it in Hollywood since the 50s, I guess you could say. But yeah, I see them pushing this and wanting.
It began, didn't it, with War of the Worlds, and it was a radio broadcast. And that, I believe, and I think William Cooper also believed, this was an experiment by the CIA or some shadow organization to see how people would react, because they acted as though they told the story of the War of the Worlds from the point of a radio host announcing the aliens have come, you know, and he did the whole play, the whole story, but they didn't tell anybody it wasn't real. So people were tuning in thinking aliens are actually invading and thought it was a genuine broadcast, you know what I mean, of an announcement warning danger, aliens are here. And people actually got in a frenzy in that village where it was being played and shot down their own grain tower, because they thought it was one of the tripods described in the story that they'd heard on the radio.
That's so funny, because I know that whole story, but I've never heard that about the tower. That's,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So people
almost
lost sense of their own landscape. They lost their wits. You know what I mean? People who went nuts. Maybe that was them figuring out, okay, people aren't ready for this yet. We'll have
well.
to-
I would almost guarantee that they are now. I think after all these years of indoctrination, I think they're close to being able. There would still be some panic, right? Depending on how it seemed to happen. I just want everybody to know that if you see on TV a bunch of alien motherships and everything, just keep in the back of your mind that it's been known for years they're planning to do something like that. It's going to look real if they try to do it. And I'm not even sure they're going to do Blue Beam. You know what? There's so many people who know about that, you know, but I just I see him pushing the alien agenda way too hard. And when he compared it to what it was like 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's very evident.
Yeah, well, I remember Independence Day. Didn't it show when the flying saucer turned up? And there was a group of people just underneath it who were all saying, "Take me up. I'm here. We love you." You know what I mean? We believe in you. We've waited for you. And they were the first people to be killed by the big beam that came down and just wiped out that massive skyscraper that we're all stood on top of. So it's kind of the people who welcome in these entities when they turn up, they'll be the first to go. You know what I mean? Along with the rest of the disbelievers. I mean, if aliens did turn up, they probably wouldn't call themselves aliens. They might actually reveal the truth. They might say, no, we've always been here. We were here before you. You know, we watched you grow from just the outskirts of this dome, and they'll tell the truth about the Earth being enclosed. They'll say, we're your creators. We're here to help you become like us, just like the serpent originally promised. You know what I mean? In the Garden of Eden, we'll make you like gods. You know, just take the transhuman upgrade, do this, do that. You know what I mean? And
I think it would work. I think it would work.
And they'll actually say, no, but we're interdimensional. We're not extra. They'll tell the truth. You know what I mean? But they just won't explain their intentions, where they really come from, all this stuff. They'll come up with probably the Anunnaki story or something that we create.
I think they would. I think Ancient Aliens and the whole and I used to like Sitchin's work and everything. I used to dig all of that. I used to study and read all about that. And I just came to a knowing in 2015, in January 2015. I was studying how there was Satanism with our elites and how that's actually going on. And the more and more and more I studied that, and then the prior knowledge I had of everything else, it was like everything fell into place and I saw it all. I see what they're doing on the media. I see what they're doing in Hollywood. And I just can't wait for even more people to wake up, because I just stumbled upon your live show here.
Oh,
you know, it seems like there's thousands of people waking up every day in one way or another. I consider myself a truther, but also a Christian truther.
Same
and
here.
I'm seeing, go ahead.
I was just saying, for me, it was 2012 that brought me into this. So it's around 2011. I was kind of the new age spiritualist hippie, but I wasn't a conspiracy theorist. I was just that. You know what I mean? I was going down the spiritual stuff, doing psychedelics and trying to explore my consciousness and expand my horizons, all this type of stuff.
I've been there. I've been there.
The end of the world was coming in 2012, wasn't it? So I was like, well, I've got to figure out why these people are saying these things, because I'm going to make some artwork about it for my degree. Like, this is my topic, you know, I'm going to pick this. And after I picked that topic, here I am now 5 years later, you know, completely in it, a born-again Christian, completely out of that world. It changed my life, you know. And it all began with learning about the monetary corruptions, the food corruptions, the chemtrails. Chemtrails was a big thing for me at the beginning. Trying to make sense of all of this. Like, what is going on? Why are these people even trying to kill themselves with this chemical, you know? What are they banking on? And it's kind of, as soon as you realize the supernatural elements of all of this, everything kind of like, oh, there you go. Well, that makes perfect sense.
It's the only thing. It's the only thing that it is the universal theory of the supernatural. It is the Bible, God, all that that is what's going on here. It's almost, after decades of studying UFOs, and I've been in a lot of chat rooms too, a lot of voice chat rooms. I was hanging out for years talking to people about it. And what I noticed is that the Bible kept coming up. You could not keep from talking about the Bible eventually when you're really talking about UFOs and our origins and everything else. You cannot help but bring up the Bible, and that's because that's what's really going on.
It is. It's the inevitable conclusion if you sincerely do your research on aliens and UFOs. There are a lot of people out there who still want to remain in that New Age kind of camp and believe, no, these are ascended masters, or these are spirit guides, or these are...
New Age is really old age, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's like, well, this is what pisses me off, though. It's like, well, what are they? Are they ancestor spirits? Are they spirit guides? Are they angels? Are they jesters?
Time travelers?
Are they archetypes? Are they time travelers? They keep telling different stories to different people about what they are, but the message is always the same. You are God. You can ascend out into godhood through your own works. Every time, it's the same goddamn message. So it's kind of like they are deceivers from the get-go by the very fact they cannot tell people what they really are. Instead, they come to people how the person, the individual, would want them to appear. So they tell them whatever they want to hear, basically. So they are deceivers. They are liars in that respect. I even have a theory. I think perhaps that when the aliens turn up, they'll say they are Jesus. The head alien will say, "I am Jesus, and these are my angels," or something like that. They'll be literally sit in the place of Christ, and obviously blaspheme against Christ and say all the New Age stuff like, man, I was trying to tell you all that you can be like me, you can all be God like me, you know what I mean? Like, man has corrupted what I actually said and all this type of stuff, and start to lie to us and twist, and then all the real Christians who be like, this isn't Jesus, this is a liar, will seem like blaspheming, hating, bigoted, backwards, cave-dwelling idiots who can't see their own savior when he's in front of them or something like that.
Well, we know the first one. We know who the first one is, right? The first one that claims to come back. I mean, right?
Of course, exactly. Well, yeah, the Antichrist will come first, and then Jesus will come.
Yeah. So that first dude is not your friend. Is all I got to say, right?
They could double cross us. They could make it look like the Antichrist has turned up, and then make it look like Jesus has turned up. But that's the real Antichrist. You know what I mean? They might do a double cross, make it look like the Antichrist has come and gone, and then pretend Jesus has turned up.
Well, I mean, they're like psychopathic liars, basically. Yeah, I mean, they could do anything like that. But have you ever? Here's what I think. If you study all of these things, like I'm a generalist, I try to look at everything. Anything strange, I like to look into. But if you either have to come to the conclusion that we're living in this place where all these weird things are happening. We got time traveling aliens, we have demons, we have aliens of different races and sorts, and then you have the spiritual realm, and you either think that all of that's going on, or I think it's pretty much the biblical view. I mean, it's the simpler answer. I just think, what are the chances of us having demons and fallen spirits and things like that on this planet, but also have aliens coming, and then the Bible never mentioning about visitors from other places? In fact, he's stating the opposite, that I believe the Bible says the earth was flat and all that. So, I mean, it's I think when you really look into it, you've got to make that decision. Is it everything happening, or is it just one thing?
No, I agree. I think most people are always faced with that choice. Eventually you have to come to the choice. If you research truth for long enough, Christ is always there as a thing you have to come to terms with. You know what I mean? It's like, for me, originally, it was like the last topic I would look into conspiracy. I'm a bit of a generalist as well. I'd look at everything. But that would always be there, and I kind of always mull it over, go down kind of the Gnostic way of viewing it. Like, maybe Jesus is important, but he's not the most important thing and that type of thing. But and you have to be honest with yourself eventually. If you want to be all about truth, you can't avoid the Jesus question and the God question and the Bible question. You have to confront that. And if you do confront that, inevitably, like me, like yourself, and like everyone else who does this sincerely, you'll come to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior and protection against these things. Okay, Abnormal Truth, I'd like to thank you for that. I've got more people here who seem to want to talk.
Yes, thank you for talking with me. I had a great time talking to somebody who is a lot like me, actually, you know? So that was cool.
That's what this show's for. It's for people who can't talk to people in the normal life, because we all know what it's like. You know, we all know what it's like when you're a truther.
It's tough.
Talk to me. I'll talk to you. I'm right here. Like, talk to me. Come talk to us. We'll have a bit of group chat going. That's fine. I mean,
well, look, I got a channel, so you can find my channel if you ever need to get a hold of me or anything, and we'll get together again.
Yeah, no problem. I know. Thanks very much, Al. I think I'm subscribed to you already, actually. So yeah, I'll keep
sweet. Well, I definitely sub to you. So,
right, good stuff. Thanks again, Eric Green. Are you there, man? Can you unmute your mic?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're loud and clear. Sorry about the wait. Thanks for coming on. What would you like to talk about? What's on your mind?
Well, I don't know if we've really talked about D-Wave at all. What are your thoughts there on the whole D-Wave? Do you think that?
You know, this isn't my area of expertise. I do follow Face Like the Sun's videos every now and then when he talks about the D-Wave computer, and he really hits home with these things.
Yeah.
My basic gist, from what I've gathered, is it's like a glorified Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a technological machine that can pierce a hole through that veil, and it can kind of filter information back and forth between the demons and humans through this technology we've got, this processor of some kind. Am I close? Is that kind of what it is from what I've gathered? You might know more than me.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, I see that, and I see it connected with CERN, and, you know, being a tool possibly to, you know, get demon information, I guess, demon tech, who knows? Opening the veil, I guess. I can see it all working together.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time humans have tried to get knowledge from angels and beings. I mean, the original problem was that the sons of God came down to earth and mingled with man. And it wasn't just mating with humans, it was teaching mankind all sorts of stuff, technology, how to pervert the 7 sacred sciences like geometry, math, how to grow things, all this type of stuff, astrology, astronomy. They taught mankind loads of things, and it's nothing new now. Like, I do wonder where our technology came from today anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was horse and carriage for hundreds and hundreds of years, and then suddenly, bam, in the past 100 years, we're here. I'm talking to people on the other side of the world in my studio. It's like, what? That's madness.
Well, it's like fiber optics. It just popped up overnight practically, and some other technology. Yeah, it makes you wonder where it came from or who influenced us on that. You know, the television is a prime example, I think, you know.
Oh, the first television was called Telefunken, and it was by the Nazis in Germany, and it was used as the prime propaganda tool to disseminate Nazi propaganda. And that's when it was invented.
It still is. It still is.
Yeah, exactly. You know, nothing ever changed in that respect.
Yeah, I don't think it was it wasn't quite made for our entertainment as such. they may want us to believe that.
That's true, exactly. But the Nazis were well known to be into the occult and trying to be in touch with entities on the other side to gain information. They invented rocket science, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Where did they get this information from? Well, they would tell us human ingenuity, but if anything's told me about human ingenuity, we're not that great. I do wonder if we were helped. I think we were probably helped in that respect.
Von Braun, you've read about Von Braun, right? He was actually into the occult and stuff, which is very unusual. You have this cultist that was actually also one of the best rocket engineers, right? That I can think of. I mean, if it wasn't for him coming over here, our rocket program wouldn't have been very much to speak of. So very strange connection there with the occult.
Right, that's right.
Math.
Well, yeah, NASA, the founder of NASA, a Nazi rocket scientist brought over after World War II, heavily seeps in the occult. It's like I don't think the Nazis really lost the war. I think they just changed their flag and name and
Oh yeah.
moved to America. They moved to America. Well, that's where all the Nazi scientists went anyway. So they were the brains of the operation, I assume.
Well,
So yeah, it's very, very suspect. Now we've got John Chapper here. I only have 15 minutes left, guys. So I want to throw him into the conversation as well. John, are you?
Could I ask this real fast? Do you guys know, was Paperclip wasn't meant for us to know about, right? That kind of slipped out, right?
Operation Paperclip. Remind me quickly what that was. Sorry.
Well, that's the whole Nazi recruitment, essentially. That was called
Of course.
Operation Paperclip. But my question
course,
is
yeah.
that we weren't supposed to know about that, right? That kind of slipped out, or
No, I think they said that, and they excused all of those scientists for their crimes. And it just came out several decades later too.
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
well,
I do.
I'm gonna
Sorry,
get
go ahead.
going. I'll let you guys, do your thing. Like you said, you got 10 minutes or 15 minutes left. So I just wanted to pop on. This is my first time I ever did this. So
Sure, Eric. We can stick around if you want. It's fine. I'm just going to let John chime in.
Oh, sure. All right.
John, you just turn down the volume on your computer for that video stream and keep this one open because I'm getting a bit of an echo. And I'll turn your mic on now.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, there we go, John. How are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Just appreciate, getting out there and saying what you have to say. It's not easy. You get a lot of lag from people saying you're crazy and this and that, but really, it's a weird world we live in, man. But what I wanted to speak about was brought up like the psychedelics and all that, and how like the occultists, they're really into like the vampires and the blood. And I don't know if this is true or not, but they say like when you die, your body releases DMT. And also like I know when you're like in a fight or flight situation, like maybe if you're being tortured, your body releases like dopamine and certain things into your blood. And I know that these people, they harvest your blood and actually drink blood. They're blood drinkers and all that. I just thought that connection was pretty weird. That's what I've come to my conclusion. That's why people do this.
Yeah, well, the life is in the blood, biblically speaking. A person's essence and life is in the blood. I do believe a lot of people drink the blood of children because it can keep them young.
I was about to say it's about the kids.
Yeah, if you don't believe me on that, actually, I'll prove it now. But Abramovich, the artist, we'll call her an artist. The woman who does the satanic artwork with the blood and the semen and breast milk and stuff like that. Spirit cooking. That's it. There she is. And I'll just quickly screen share here. But she is 70 years old. And you tell me this is a picture of a 70-year-old woman, please. Because I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, my God, what have you done, woman? Like, what have you, Marina? Sorry. Like, what have you done to be able to be 70 years old?
Or how many kids did she drink?
Well, this is what I mean. Like, I don't want to be like the person who has whiter clothes than me. You're a witch. But it's like, how do you look so flawless and young? You are 70 years old. Can you see this?
Yeah.
And she is an outspoken Satanist who does artwork with the blood of people and other things like that. She's a very disgusting lady. Her artwork's vile. But it's kind of, I'm suspecting there's foul play at work here because she does not look like a 70-year-old woman to me.
Yeah.
Just what I'm saying. So yeah,
like,
I do believe it's definitely used for that purpose. That's one thing I can say.
Because I heard like somebody Al Gore got caught like traveling with like a package of blood in his suitcase or whatever in his luggage and all that. And there's like all these elitists, these globalists, these Zionists, they're connected in one way or another. They hijack all these religions from Jewish to Catholic to even Christians, Christianity. And it's like they're all like there's gatekeepers within the truth or in salvation, and they block, like you said, these demons are among us, or within us or all around us at all times throughout the day, night, whatever. It's hard to like. One thing I've noticed since I've doing research with all this stuff is like the attacks are more pronounced, and you see them. The more aware and the more you become awake, the more knowledge you come upon, it's like the more you're attacked.
Yes,
that happens. That's the truth.
Do you have an experience?
And if you're not in a good place with God, or you know, it'll make it go crazy in a sense, not. And it's like all this stuff that with the chemtrails, from the pharmaceuticals to even the food you eat, has been modified. So it's like now in this world it's so hard to actually find like the light throughout this all this darkness.
Were you getting attacked, John? Were you getting attacked?
Oh man,
Me too.
It's raw. Like it's like if I go outside, sometimes I'm like scared to even go outside if I'm not like spiritually in touch with God. Like I have to. It's not easy sometimes.
You got to put that armor of God on. But
yeah,
if I here a couple of 3 weeks ago, I actually swear that I caught one messing with me. And I'm not a crazy guy. I don't have that thought often. I don't hear voices. You know what I mean? But there were circumstances that happened, and then these thoughts started entering my mind. And you know what I told him? I said, I know you're here. You may want to go bother somebody else because I'm going to be rather boring.
Yeah.
And he went away. So, I mean, and like I said, I've never really had that happen so much before, or at least, I mean, I promise I was smelling very foul odors with no cause, just really evil thoughts every once in a while. You got to really pay attention, you know, about your thoughts, and you might catch them. Yes,
that's a constant. Like that's what I catch myself like with those thoughts you said that enter the mind. It's like, man,
yeah,
and that's one thing that like
they know you very well.
I'm trying to build my relationship with God myself. That's one thing that I'm trying to do, and I just see it's not.
That's why they're trying to get you. That's why they trying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that when I first stumbled upon all this, I was like kind of like in the Matrix, like they say. I was lost, or I was dumb basically. And then when you stumble upon this stuff by curiosity, and if you're not spiritually in touch with God, or you don't have that, you'll be consumed by this stuff, and you have to be able to like to fight it off or to be able to deal with it. So I mean, there was a couple years back when I first started doing this research. Like I stepped away from it. Sorry, my daughter. 1 second. Oh, let's go outside. Sorry about that. But
she sounds cute, John. I gotta.
Yeah, she's only 3. That's another thing. That's
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 5.
Well, John.
That's okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Sounds like she just wants to dad.
That's one thing I want to speak about in the Bible. Like, I've been to a few churches, and I grew up Catholic, and I separated myself from that because I seen how the word, like throughout the years, and people have manipulated and used it as a thing of power and control, manipulate, especially through witchcraft. Like, you'd be surprised, like, and you start seeing this stuff and you start feeling it, and like, not saying that like anybody special, it's hard to separate the difference a lot of this stuff.
No, well, obviously the Catholic Church, one thing that always got me is they pray to the Mother Goddess Mary, which is not,
exactly.
That's idol worship. It breaks the first commandment of thou shalt have no other gods before me. But what you're saying, John, obviously, you know, talk about demons coming for you. Now, obviously, the 3 objectives for demons is what Derek Prince told us at the start and the lecture of this video. They come to torment and torture. They come to keep you from knowing Jesus or stop you from serving Jesus effectively. Yeah. And they mainly come at you and affect you emotionally. And they come at you with fear, pride, the feeling of rejection, rebellion, and witchcraft. And obviously, it sounds to me like rejection and fear might be something you might have troubles with. And
Derek Prince, he's the man to listen to. I can't believe you just threw his name out there. That's That's the only guy I listen to.
Well, Abnormal
really.
Truth, at the start of this video, I played a 15-minute excerpt of his breakdown of demons, and that's what this is based on. The one thing
Awesome.
I want to, it's coming up to the hour now, the second hour, in the spirit of truth and what we're talking about here as well, and obviously in the work of Derek Prince, we have to obviously honor everything he's done for us in that respect and the knowledge he's brought to us. I want to end in a prayer. With you, obviously for you, John, as well, to help you dealing with these demons. Now, please bear with me. I don't pray very often, so this is actually like a first for me. It's the first time I'm ever going to pray live. But join me, guys, in this prayer if you can. And we'll sum it up now, if that's okay. So, dear Lord, first of all, I ask that you forgive us all of our sins, everyone here today who's been listening to this chat, who's listening to this video. Please forgive us for anything we've done against you. And obviously lead our words and our works, Spirit and the Holy Spirit, and everything that you stand for that exemplifies you. I ask that you protect John Chapper, and obviously, please, in the power and authority of Jesus Christ, protect him from the demonic attacks and keep him strong. Look after his daughter, keep her safe as well. And obviously, the same goes for Abnormal Truth as well. I hope you keep him strong in the works, in the faith of you, and everything you stand for, and for all of us in the truth community. I pray, Lord, I pray that you keep us of sound mind, and that's all I can really say.
Oh, appreciate that.
No problem. Anything you guys want to add before I finish this video? Anything you want to say at all?
No, I'm good. Just keep in touch, man. I want to talk to you again sometime.
No problem. Abnormal Truth, that's fine. You can always message me on the messages on Facebook, on YouTube. Anyone can do that. I'm on Twitter as well if you want to message me on Twitter, but obviously I know that's not for everybody. I don't really use it that often.
Yeah,
you can always message me.
Yeah, I've got a Twitter account. I'll follow you. Yeah, I'll follow you on both.
No problem. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll call it a night there. If anyone out there who's listening to this has enjoyed the content, I do have a Patreon account you can contribute to as well. But you don't have to. I'll still bring this to you either way. I'll leave links for all the videos that were shown tonight in the description box. It's been a fantastic show, guys. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining me. And I'll be back next week for episode 5. I don't know what the topic is yet, but I'll promise to try and not disappoint. Thanks again, everyone, and God bless. Goodbye.